despite the pretty bleak past few weeks we've had, but nonetheless, today I kind of wanted to do a video about my, I guess, list of MVPs for each team. At least as of now, I feel like there have been a ton of injuries that have kind of skewed a lot of people's seasons, but yeah, I kind of thought it would be fun to go through and at least mention my favorite player, or who I think has been the best for the team so far. So I guess a few things I have to preface the video with. If you're new here, you should probably know that I'm kind of a newbie, and I just kind of started getting into the NFL within the past, 2 years, I would say. So I always encourage people to take what I'm saying with a grain of salt a little bit, because I, am still learning a lot. And the other thing is, I did have to consult my boyfriend for a few things just to fill in some gaps with me, because there are certainly like a few teams where I couldn't even tell you like who their current quarterback is, you know what I mean? So I had to get some outsider's perspective, and he pretty much knows everything about every single team. I feel like he listens to an absurd amount of like podcasts, and he's always felt like he just always knows. So I did have to snag him for a few teams to fill in the gaps. So I'll make sure to give him his credit for those. But otherwise, let me know if I missed anybody, if you think that it should be somebody else, or if I forgot about anybody. A few people or a few teams will have like an honorable mention or two, so, but not everybody. wasn't like a super high, like recruit or whatever out of high school, right? Wasn't he the one who like ended up sending out a lot of emails to coaches to be able to play in college and stuff like that? But yeah, next is the Dolphins. I would say Tyreek Hill is my favorite, and you know, arguably the most fun to watch. I like watching him. I like watching his personality a lot, and he seems to be really popping off this season, which has been fun to watch. I haven't watched a whole lot of the Dolphins Hard Knocks, but my sister has. She's been getting into it, and she also really likes Tyreek. So I feel like honorable mention is Tua. Like, you know, Tua is pretty likable and respectable too. And that's coming from, honestly, a University of Alabama hater. Like, I got beef with them. I really am anti-Alabama football. And I tend to like be extra critical about Alabama quarterbacks, but I love Tua. How can you not love Tua? So yeah, yeah. Next for the Jets, I have two. I picked a two, and I feel like they go hand in hand. I feel like it's Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. I love them both, like just together as a duo. I love watching like the footage of them like vibing together and like practicing together, and I don't know, I loved them being both like rookies of the year. I felt like that was just sweet, so I like them a lot, and fun personalities to follow. For the Patriots, I did have to recruit assistants for this, and my boyfriend's quote, like when I asked like, can you give me somebody for the Patriots, like what do you think about the Patriots, and he said none, and then he said I guess maybe Trent Brown, so we'll go with Trent Brown, the left tackle. He said that he's pretty established and like really good, a really good left tackle. So I'm sorry to any Patriots fans that I've offended by that. I will say it seems like the Patriots are going to get rid of Bill Belichick, which seems pretty crazy. I have not followed that story really at all, so obviously I don't really know anything, but I feel like it's kind of like one of those things where, how are you going to get rid of Bill Belichick? Like, a lot of teams would probably like to have Bill Belichick, right? Unless like he's really done something goofy within the past year, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be kind of crazy to hear about, but maybe it's time for him to retire anyways, you know? I don't know. But yeah, I'm sorry to any Patriots fans. I know that was kind of anticlimactic. I really don't know much at all about Trent Brown, but I did Google him, and he looks like a really sturdy left tackle. A pretty sturdy looking left tackle. So next, we'll do the AFC West. We'll go ahead and say for the Chiefs, it's Patrick Mahomes, which I've probably talked about with y'all before. Like, I don't necessarily love the Chiefs, really just for obvious AFC reasons, and I don't necessarily love Patrick Mahomes for obvious, like, AFC reasons, you know, like, I don't really, anybody who is that, like, dominant, in the division, or in the conference, or whatever, like, you know, it gets a little old, obviously, but overall, I'm sure, like, he's a nice person. I just don't really, like, specifically like him that much, and especially with the, like, a bit of whining he's been doing, not even just, like, this past weekend, where there was that whole, like, kind of meltdown he had, but I feel like I don't really love how, like, the commentators and the announcers will just, like, they just love Patrick Mahomes, and then I'll see somebody like Sam Howell do something really impressive, and they won't, like, really acknowledge it in the same way, so it just seems like they are really biased, and they just, like, love and, like, milk Patrick Mahomes, and it's a little bit annoying after a while. That's just at least what I've noticed, but I understand, like, I am totally biased just from being in the AFC, you know, I don't know. My boyfriend specifically Next, the Raiders, it's Max Crosby. I like watching Max Crosby. I like watching his intensity and his aggression. It's like really fun. He's terrifying looking. But I looked him up on Instagram a while ago, and he's like a girl dad, you know, like he has at least one daughter, I'm pretty sure, like a baby. So he has like pictures of him and his wife and his baby, and it's super sweet. So it's always kind of funny to me that, like, you know, these dudes on the field are like so intense and scary looking, and then they're like, you know, personal life, they look like a sweet, like, little loving, like, dad to a little baby, you know, so it's funny. But he's also just super intense and awesome to watch. For the Chargers, again, I did not know who to say for this, so I consulted, and he literally said, I'm sorry again in advance to any Chargers fan, but he said none. Like, there's nothing that he, like, really had to say about any Chargers players. He said that the coach and the general manager were fired recently, so he thinks that it's time for, like, a total, like, clean house, like a reset or whatever. But I feel like if I had to pick somebody without me really knowing a lot of context or a lot of, like, I don't know what this man has been doing recently, but I feel like Digger the Kicker for a while, like, was really good. Like, he was doing well, and he was fun to watch, and there was funny media about Digger the Kicker, so that's who I would say. But again, sorry to any Chargers fans if that was disappointing, but for the Broncos, it's Russell Wilson, right? And I really like Courtland Sutton, too. I think he's fun. I think he's cool. Russell's been popping off, and apparently, maybe some people don't like Russell Wilson. I've heard that he's, like, cringy, you know, but I feel like overall, if cringy is, like, the worst quality that an NFL quarterback or NFL, like, prominent NFL player has, like, then I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about cringy, you know what I mean? Like, that does not bother me. And overall, it does seem like he's been, like, fun to watch, and he's been a little impressive this year, and obviously, like, historically, he's pretty established, like Russell Wilson, you know, so, yeah. For the AFC South, we can start with the Texans. I feel like CJ Stroud seems really, really promising. I don't know if he's, like, coming back this season. It seems like he might, but I've been trying to tell my sister, who hasn't picked an NFL team really to, like, root for, that she should be a Texans fan because of CJ Stroud. Like, it's looking like it could be really promising for them. So there's also Nico Collins, who has been popping off a little bit, it seems like. So I would say CJ Stroud, definitely, and then Nico Collins, if CJ isn't coming back this season. I'm not sure. I really haven't kept up with him super well, but I'm rooting for him. I hope he does well. For the Colts, who we just played yesterday, and I would say it's Michael Pittman. He did pretty good last night, or yesterday afternoon, and it seems like he would be the MVP that I would pick for the Colts right now. And that's all I'll really say about that game. Tragic to witness. I really honestly stopped watching the game after, like, I watched Mason Rudolph come in and, like, fling around some dinky, weak passes. I was like, I can't watch this anymore. So sorry for that negativity, but Michael Pittman does seem like really good. He's very, like, tall and slender, and, like, he kind of, like, lanky, but he's slippery and agile. So I don't know. That's all I really know about him, so I will disclose that. But the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, I really love Trevor Lawrence. I love watching him. I hope that they put up a good fight against the Ravens tonight. But otherwise, my boyfriend said it should be Josh Allen. I think he's like an edge rusher, like hybrid. players or descriptions of players to list, but that's who I would say are notable to me for the Titans. Next for the NFC East, we'll start with the Eagles, and I feel like it has to be the O-line. The O-line in general is my MVP for the Eagles. Obviously, I love Jason Kelce. We all love Jason Kelce. And I love Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata and their little, like, trio and their singing and their friendship. It's very sweet, and I love that aspect of it, but also you can't really deny, like, they're pretty sturdy. Again, pretty sturdy of an O-line. So that's who I would say for the Eagles. And then for the Cowboys, I would say Dak. I have said before, and I'll say it again, like, I personally really like Dak. I think he's really good. Obviously, he's really good, but he's also likable. Like, I really like him. And then my boyfriend, his answer to this was Deron Bland, who I don't know at all, but I figured, like, if I give Dak as an answer, maybe I would want an honorable mention. But he said that Deron Bland, again, who I'd never heard of before, like, just broke the pick six record. He already has 5 pick sixes this season, and he said the record is 4. He said the record is 4 pick sixes in a season, and Deron Bland already has 5, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so that was an opinion from the boyfriend, I will say, but kind of cool to learn about. I've never heard of him before. For the Giants, I really like Brian Dable. I like him as a coach. I like his big bald head. I like his vibes. I think he's been keeping the team afloat, all things considered, and I overall like the Giants, and I kind of feel bad for the Giants a lot. But all things considered, everything they've gone through this season, my boyfriend's answer to this was Kyron Williams, who I don't know much about, and I apologize, but he made it seem like he was like a top level running back, so Kyron Williams was his answer to that. For the Cardinals, I also had to consult, and he really didn't have a solid answer for them either. He said Trey McBride, the tight end, was probably who he would pick. Trying to look it up to see if Kyler was still hurt, and it seems like he played today, but didn't do too well. Otherwise, I would say that I've always really enjoyed watching Kyler play and run. But it doesn't seem like he did very well today. It says he threw 2 picks, I think, and 1 touchdown. But they did beat us. So, but it says he threw for 145 yards, 1 touchdown. So, I don't know. They did beat us though. So that's all I, really know to say for the Cardinals. I guess next for the NFC South, we can start with the Saints. Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave probably, right, are probably the best players for the Saints right now. A lot of my really good guy friends are Saints fans, and they've explained to me a little bit about the kind of cycle of contracts and the cycle of almost like contract of debt, like debt that they experience. So I don't know a whole lot about that, but overall it seems like Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave are like 2 of the most solid dudes this year, and I feel like wasn't Alvin Kamara like hurt or maybe like under investigation for stuff last year? So maybe this is like one of his first years really getting to like play and show out and stuff. Okay, for the Falcons, I picked Jesse Bates really because I feel like I know him from being on the Bengals, but I did look up his stats too, and it says he is tied for 9th place in terms of forced fumbles, and tied for 15th place for solo tackles, I guess is what it's saying. Here's Harper. I don't know what PD is. What does PD mean for like a safety? PD. It says he's tied 32nd in PD, whatever that means. I'm sorry. And then he has 5 picks, ranked 3rd. So that's pretty good. But I liked him on the Bengals. I feel like they were really sad that he didn't get to stay with the Bengals. But for the Bucks, I would say Baker Mayfield. I know that's probably a controversial opinion, but I like Baker Mayfield, and I feel like I want to support him as a quarterback because of like what he went through with the Browns and how hard they shafted him, and I really just want the best for Baker Mayfield. For some reason, I just want him to do really well, and I feel like all things considered for the Bucks, like he's held his own a little bit, like he's been able to manage a little bit. He hasn't been the worst by any means, and I about their franchise at all. So I'm sorry about that. But we can move on to the last but not least NFC North. The Bears. It's gotta be DJ Moore. I like DJ Moore a lot. I always feel bad for the Bears, truthfully. It's almost like I feel like the Vikings, the Bears, and the what was the other one we were talking about earlier? Oh, and the Giants. I always just like feel a little bad for. But again, I realized at one point the Giants were like top of the top, but it just wasn't during my my fan period. So I feel like I don't know. Those are the people I always have a lot of sympathy for. I imagine being a Bears fan is tough, but anyways, DJ Moore would be my pick for the Bears, and then for the Vikings, I always pronounce his name wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Danielle Hunter, spelled like Danielle, which always confuses me a little bit, but Danielle Hunter, the defensive lineman, it seems like he has a lot of sacks, like he really is, been popping off. And Danielle Hunter. For the Lions, Sam Laporta, when I watched a little bit of the game last night, I'm pretty sure he got like 3 touchdowns. So I feel like right now he is up there. But I feel like overall Dan Campbell has just a special place in my heart a little bit. I've talked a little bit about how I feel like watching the Lions Hard Knocks season like really helped me become invested as a football fan. It helped me like understand some personalities and dynamics like of NFL players that really got me hooked. And of course fell in love a little bit with Dan Campbell, as one does, so I feel like he would always be it for me. I feel like a little bit hurt still that they let go of Jamal Williams. I haven't really been able to get over that, and I guess I could make him my MVP for the Saints. I really didn't consider him, to be quite honest, but Jamal Williams was like one of the biggest reasons I like started feeling or realizing that you could feel like invested with players and teams, like emotionally invested in. So I feel like I don't know, for some reason that all season took a toll on me, and it made me realize that I can totally get into football. Anyways, last, again, don't have a whole lot to say about the Packers, but Jordan Love has been doing pretty good, it seems like. So I feel like that's who I would pick for the Packers. But please, if y'all have any thoughts or opinions about any of these teams that I've listed, and you feel like I missed somebody obvious or didn't consider somebody or left somebody out, please let me know. I really do love to learn about players. I'm obviously still learning. I don't know everything. I really hope y'all don't try to compare me to a literal, an actual sports analyst guy or anything like that. I am very new to this type of stuff. There, obviously was a point last year probably that I couldn't even name the starting quarterback of each team. And I could definitely not name every team in each division, but I've been trying. I last year kind of made it a point that I wanted to learn every team in the divisions, because that kind of was confusing to me, and so I tried really hard to memorize them and come up with little tricks to be able to memorize them, and really tried to make it a point to know who the most notable players were for each team, because I felt like I just wanted to, and I felt like it was important for me too. So but with all of that said, I hope you don't have expectations